Today we're going to talk about a few things you need to know before watching The Acolyte. Let's go. Hello there troopers and welcome back to General Kenobi's Bunker. Thank you so much for joining me here on another video. So, with the new Disney Plus Star Wars show right around the corner, I figure we might as well talk about some stuff you might not know regarding The Acolyte. Okay, so let's start with the timeline. The Acolyte takes place 100 years before Episode 1, which puts it around 132 before the Battle of Yavin, which is basically towards the end of the High Republic era. Now, what is the High Republic era? It's basically a period of time from about 500 BBY to 100 BBY, where the Galactic Republic was at the peak of its power. It was a time period for exploration, for scientific achievement, and basically the same can be said for the Jedi Order. They were very powerful, they were a lot more spread into the galaxy, but also a lot more diverse and understanding, and even lenient. The High Republic has been covered in books and comic books, but those stories take place about 100 years even before the Acolyte. So that's around 232 BBY for those of you keeping up. So I don't really think it's necessary for you to read all of the books and all of the comic books before watching The Acolyte. However, we do know that at least one book character makes it onto The Acolyte, and that is Vernesta Rowe, who is, of course, over 100 years old at this point, but she is basically a prodigy, when it comes to the Force. So she's very knowledgeable. And yes, she modified her lightsaber to be a lightsaber whip, a light whip, a saber whip. And let's just get this out of the way. No, lightsaber whips are not new. In the expanded universe, Lumiya, who was Vader's secret apprentice of sorts, had one. And she actually gave Luke a lot of trouble with it. And speaking about being over 100 years old, we do have some familiar faces already alive in this time period. The obvious one, of course, is Yoda, who is basically already Yoda, honestly. He's around 750 years old. So he's pretty much already, the Master Yoda that we all know and love. But there's more. There's also Yaddle. Oppo Rancisis should be around. Even Master Sinube, I think. And some other, non-Jedi, like actually Jabba. I think Jabba is around, at this point. Will we see them in the show? I'm pretty sure we're going to see Yoda. We kind of have to, right? It would be cool to see other Jedi that we know, but I'm not expecting them to be very prominent. It's going to be more like a cameo, or maybe somebody's going to talk about them, mention their name. And I think that's going to be about it. What do you think? Do you think we're actually going to see them every episode? Let me know in the comments. Now, on the darker side of things, as you know, this show is meant to explore the dark side of the Force. And I think this is a good period to do so because it is when the Jedi are basically starting to lose their grip on their power, right? I think this is where we might start seeing some of the corruption, start to grow within the Galactic Republic. So even though it's the High Republic era, it's towards the end of that period. So we know that things are going to change fairly soon. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But we do know there is a red lightsaber wielder because of the trailers, right? And the promotional material that we have seen. So who can it be? Well, let's just get rid of the obvious. So Palpatine has not been born in this period of time. Okay, so that kind of rules him out. Unless some weird, alchemy where he travels to the past. You know what? Let's not even go there. But who could be around that is a Sith Lord that we know and love? It could be Palpatine's master, Darth Plagueis, right? Or even his master, Darth Tenebrous. Would be very interesting because we don't know much about him. So, however, there is no guarantee that it's an actual Sith Lord. Even though I kind of would like it to be. I think it would make it, a little bit more interesting. So it could be a third party that we don't know, something like the Night Sisters, right? Where they are wielders of the dark side, but not exactly as the Sith. So it's going to be interesting to see who is wielding that red lightsaber. I think that's going to be one of the main questions, of course, in this show. Another thing, maybe many of you don't know, is that in this period of time, the Jedi actually have different outfits for different tasks. So they actually got some really nice white and gold robes that they use when they're just hanging around, in the temple in Coruscant. They're kind of like their dress robes, let's call them that. But when they're out and about, in the shady places of the galaxy, they actually wear the sort of like the more brown tone robes, plain looking ones that we basically know them in. So yeah, just keep that fact in mind. When you see the promotional art, if they're wearing the regular brown robes, it kind of means that they're out on a mission. And if they're looking all nice, clean, white and gold, it kind of means they might be hanging out at a party with Yoda at the temple in Coruscant. Before we jump into the last fact that I want to talk about, I want to remind you guys to leave us your like on this video and comment down below what do you think about this type of videos where we do a little bit more lore to catch us up before a new show. Okay, and for our last fact, one that actually is very exciting to me for this show. No Skywalkers. Okay, we are finally moving away from the period of the of all the trilogies actually, where we've been dealing with the Skywalker saga, right? So technically, there shouldn't be any Skywalkers around this time. None that we know of. Of course, they can change that, but at least there's no sort of direct line into Luke or Vader or Anakin, if you want to think about him that way. So I'm actually pretty excited about this because I think it opens up good possibilities for new storytelling, of course, new characters, and even new factions, right? It doesn't have to be just the Sith and the Jedi. We know there will be the Enclave, which are basically like witches, right? I'm assuming they're going to be using the Force in a different way, and I don't know if they're going to be necessarily light or dark. So again, I'm actually pretty excited about that. That's what is the best part for me about this new show, The Acolyte. We are finally moving away from the Skywalker saga. So that is going to do it, troopers. Again, thank you so much for joining me in this video. Please let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to leave us your like. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much if you already have. And may the Force be with you.